Healing minds, inspiring voices, living truth, making choices. This is your space. Just be you, authentically peculiar with Marcia. Welcome to a space where healing is real, where your voice matters and your truth is enough. With authentically peculiar. Season 5, the year of expansion, healing deeper, living louder, stepping fully into who you are. Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.
Welcome back to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. I have one of my favorite people on this planet as a guest today. She often says that I'm her mentor, but she literally jump started my desire to do more in college as a master level student. So that means that we've known each other about 13 years, 13, 14 years now, which says a lot. But Dr. Chazia Walls is a licensed professional counselor who holds a PhD. She is an Air Force brat and a military veteran of the Army. She is a counselor, a supervisor, a speaker. She talks about ethics, and she's a founder of Miles of Hope Counseling and Consulting Services. She is the mom of beautiful children and the grandmommy, Gigi, to her beautiful grandbaby. She is a dynamic speaker, motivator, therapist who sees people for exactly who they are, not trying to make the mold into a situation where other people are, but literally seeing you, accepting you, embracing you, and then saying it's time for you to go and grow now, baby. Let me give you these tools to do that. Her work extends beyond the therapy room by offering guidance as a personal transformation, boundary setting, life transitions coach with clarity and integrity and intention. She is also the visionary behind Lotus Rising Collective, and she co creates the up and coming Soul Twins podcast, where healing, spirituality, and real growth and life intersect. I am so grateful, Chazia, for your yes to the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can't even begin to express how much I wanted you on the podcast because this is the fifth year of the podcast and you've been on twice. So this is year 5. But this year we're talking about expansion. And in talking about expansion, we know that you went through a major expansion in the last 24 months, almost 36 months now. And
Oh,
so we're going to talk about it and get into it. One of the reasons why I want to bring you on as well is because I need people to recognize and see that therapists are human. We also face our own life challenges and the things that we go through. And in those things that we're going through, it helps us to build who we are so that we can be available and present for you. So I'll let you tell the background of your pivoting change and then we'll get into some question and answers.
gotcha. Yeah. So just like you said, about 2.5 years ago, there was a big transition with education and employment. And all at that same time, it kind of had a snowballing effect of where life happens, where just
Mm-hmm.
like you said, we're humans. And, dad got sick
Mm-hmm.
and hubby at the time decided that after 30 years, he no longer wanted to be married. And the fourth child graduated from high school and left for college. So, in a drop of a hat, I lost parents. I was divorced and an empty nester.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
A
yes,
lot of transition.
lot of transition. So that adjustment and us having to counsel ourselves
Mm-hmm.
happen and depend on others, depend on your village.
Absolutely. And so when you think about all of those different transitions and different spokes to your wheel, right? How did you have to go back first and reintroduce you to you before you can handle all of that other stuff? How did you reintroduce you to you?
Like you would think before this podcast, you and I started to talk. You just said it. I had to literally hit the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and in that darkness, realize that it was new. That I'm a
Mm-hmm.
new person. I'm a new vessel. I'm in a new space, and figure out who she was. And
Mm-hmm.
was a complete journey in itself because that's bringing a lot of people to the table. That's saying to
Yeah.
yourself, I need to bring childhood me, teen
Mm-hmm.
adult me, young adult me, and the mother and the wife me to the table and say, hey, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so
Mm.
much for bringing me here. This is what you get. This is what you went through, and this is what we're releasing. And then realize what's next. And that
Yeah.
was big transformation. There was the pivot.
Yeah. Because when you think about it, if you haven't been in contact with your younger self in a while, you haven't seen yourself outside of your adult labels. You really don't know who you are. You know yourself through the lens of being somebody's mom, somebody's wife, somebody's daughter, but not really about yourself. And that's how we end up losing ourselves to anxiety and depression because we disconnect, because society tells us we have to disconnect from who we naturally are. We don't know any better. We assume society knows better than we know about how important we are in our life. So once you began to identify who am I, and you had to make the pivot, what did that pivot look like for you?
That pivot was very dynamic. And
Mm,
I'll give a disclaimer to your viewers if this is troubling to you in any way, make sure you seek professional help.
absolutely.
Because that pivot was dark. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went to my therapist, and my therapist, and shameless plug for you, your recordings and your book. Um,
Mm,
Women, we feel like doing nothing is impossible, and we
mm-hmm.
feel the trauma that we thought we addressed was addressed, and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that'll surface itself in different ways. But people, if you haven't gotten the book, you haven't gotten her book, get her book. You'll understand what I'm talking about. So then, from there you go to your primary physician,
Mm-hmm.
and I am so blessed for those women because that day was a very dark day.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it, and when you go to the doctor's appointment, they have that little card and they ask you those questions. In the
Mm-hmm.
past weeks, have you? In the past month, have you? And I was in such a space that all I could do was just nod.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Absolutely.
they went and they did their job. They actively listened. They made space for me. And my therapist did her job of saying, hey, we're talking, but let's get you to your doctor so that you can get blood work. We can give
Mm-hmm.
you, medication to help you sleep and just be present. So it was just
Yes.
basics at first, getting sleep
Mm-hmm.
and eating.
Those executive functions, and I think a lot of people don't really understand how much our executive functions are naturally driven by us, where we're blindsided when we can no longer get out of the bed. We can no longer brush our teeth. We can no longer choose something to wear. We can no longer leave the house. And eating and sleeping, the executive functions are our first indicator. It's a major stuff going on here. But here's the thing about it. Some people push through with a mask, and so they may miss the value of not sleeping, not eating right. How did you allow the mask to stay off so that you could get the help that you needed.
That radical awakening where I had to live over and over again, realizing what I don't want, realizing
Mm.
what I don't want, and then
Hmm.
trying to figure out what I do want. And that
Yeah.
was that void. That was that void of I don't know who I am and I don't know
Hmm.
what's ahead of me, but I know
Hmm.
I don't want to be where I was before. So
Hmm.
I can't go back to her. She's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. And that awakening requires you to be real with yourself. How real did you have to get in your acceptance of a 30-year marriage ending and the acceptance of dad not doing well and subsequently having to transition and your acceptance of ain't nobody in here but me? Let's talk about it.
Ma'am, those days when you're reaching for what was and not
Hmm.
yet in accepting of what is,
Hmm.
putting that on repeat so that you know, okay, you, whether you like it or not, you're being pulled to the alignment of who you're meant to be. And every
Yes.
day is going to give you a reminder of
Hmm.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Mourn her, release her, see it, feel it, name it, feel. Let's
Hmm.
make a plan to figure out. I did everything. I went to mosaic classes. I learned how to crochet. I went, the I was like, okay, well, let me see where I fit. Let me see
Hmm.
where I fit in this world. What makes me feel good? And holistic practices and that meditation in the way that it is for me. Meditation looks different for everyone.
For everyone. There is no one box fit all for meditation. There's no one box fit all for healing.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, that part. The healing portion for everybody because people can tell you when you're going to get up out of this. Oh, you need to pull yourself up out of this. You can't stay there. It doesn't look the same for everybody. It took
And
a
exactly because you were grieving. And a lot of people don't realize that grief is not just about the physical transition of someone to another realm. Grief is, in this most normal definition, is the loss of what had been normal. And it's no more. And a lot of time it's outside of your control when you move into that grief cycle. So, and there's no time frame on it. When I would text you and say, "Hey, sweetie, I'm just checking on you." I didn't want anything. I didn't want, you to have to go and feel like you need to explain. I just needed you to know whenever you're ready, I'm here. Whatever I can do, I'm here. And a lot of times people don't realize that when you're grieving, you don't want a whole lot of words. You just want presence. What are your thoughts about that?
and there goes the meditation. Being present with self. And in
Mm.
those moments, in your mind, where am I? Where am I
Hmm.
feeling this? Where
Hmm.
could this be coming from?
Hmm.
And if it's a grief process, just like you were stating, is it the grief from the childhood me? Is it the grief from the teen adolescent me? Is it a grief from the mom, the wife, the daughter,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And telling that person of me, thank you. And then getting
Hmm.
back to breath, getting back to center,
Hmm. Hmm.
and finding ways to get back to center faster than I used to before. And that's a
Hmm.
beautiful part of where I am in my life now. If I can, I'm like, okay, I need to take a walk. I need to see what Marcia is doing on social media. What did she get back from the gym? What's she saying today? Oh, she meditating. Prop her up and breathe with Marcia. Like whatever it took in that day,
Hmm.
you were with me.
Hmm.
The village, you were part of that village.
Yeah.
Like take what you that moment, ground
Hmm.
yourself, get back to breath, get back to center, and then say, okay, am I doing right now with what's aligned to where I'm pulled to be, or am I digressing? Am I going backwards?
And one question that popped in my head as you were speaking, actually two. The first one, how did you reduce the easily pulled gravitation to be bitter? That would be my first question. How did you Allow yourself to process and not sit in the taste of bitterness.
That that other source of meditation where you're pulling back to center, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a shameless plug to the podcast that you guys will see, is going to that soul self and saying, with what you just displayed and what you just did and what you just felt, is that aligned with who you want to be?
Come on now.
Or is it pulled back to where you were, and where the universe, God, or whatever you believe in higher than yourself is telling you, I've been telling you it's no longer for you. That's the
Mm-hmm.
reason I took from it. I showed it to you in 1,001 ways. This is not for you. If it
Mm-hmm.
was for you, it would be with you. You no longer
Yes.
chasing things, you attract.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hold that bitterness, when you hold that,
Mm-hmm.
is that grieving and
Mm-hmm.
rage from the past, or is that who
Mm-hmm.
you want to pull to be? And I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Let's find a way to get up out of this. And sometimes I'd go back and apologize. I'd go back and apologize to
Mm-hmm.
them.
Absolutely. And that's the first part of awareness and accountability. I see you. For me, what I had to do was say, I forgive you for staying in something longer than you were supposed to. I had to do that for me because I was trying to keep what I believed was supposed to be a part of my alignment when I know that I had been told it wasn't a part of my alignment, but I was trying to keep it. So I had to apologize to me for sitting in situations, circumstances, and relationships that no longer aligned with my purpose. How would you help someone to really tap into their purpose? Because there's so many, especially women like us, that got caught in societal ideology about ourselves, our value, and the only value that we could be seen in as a woman and as a mother. But they're now wrestling in these latter years with, I don't know who I am and I'm stuck. How do you help them to really reach that point of acceptance that I'm stuck, acceptance that it's time for me to move, and the ability to say, what's my purpose?
And you're having that talking, that view with yourself. Am I pleasing? Am I performing? Am
Mm-hmm.
I accommodating? And
Mm.
whom am I doing this for? And what is going to be the benefit of it for me and the receiver?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
as you know, as a partner, as a mother, we have obligation. We feel
Mm-hmm.
that obligation to please, perform, and accommodate, because we're setting our space.
Right.
We're our set and setting. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
stabilizes our nervous system, and if you guys are good, then that means I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
In this space, though, where I'm at now, when you say, if I have to reduce myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the kids even say it now on social media, you shouldn't have to make yourself feel
So,
small for
oh,
anyone.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have to shrink
Mm-hmm.
yourself for anyone. If you're having to do that, please perform, accommodate for somebody else, just get a desired result. You're now transitioning, you're starting that cycle into something that you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to end
Mm-hmm.
up with a lot of rage and regret. So that means we're making a plan now,
Yes.
pull ourselves up out, and practice being
Mm-hmm.
that better person, that next better thought, that next better action towards
Mm-hmm.
meant to be.
Or practice being your greatest asset. Practice being your greatest asset. I just finished a career day at this elementary school and I shared with the young people, listen, when you cave in to others being the approval code of your existence, you become their puppet. And a lot of times when we take on labels like mom, wife, sibling, and things of that nature, we become a puppet to whatever their needs are, and we forget that we need to be present in our life. And I think that that's what's happening when I see marriages of 30, 25, 30, 40 years starting to dissipate. What I'm learning is somewhere along the line, somebody forgot their true identity and they became comfortable. And then all of a sudden, one day they woke up and it was uncomfortable because that growth together wasn't there. And somewhere there was lack of communication because you can't just wake up out of the blue one day and say, we're not here no more.
Yeah, like you.
Something's been going through your mind, something's been festering. You just didn't say what that was. And so for you, when you got the announcement that your ex didn't want marriage anymore, was that shocking for you?
There's that growth edge that you're talking about too, that people need to be aware of,
Yeah.
because it went straight over to what did I do? What
Mm,
can I do? It went straight towards please or accommodate. What can I do to get it back? If you have to do something like that, then that
mm-hmm.
means that's an awareness. There's your caution sign. It,
Mm-hmm.
because you're supposed to be, it's supposed to be a partnership. You're supposed to be in alignment with each other, not, oh no, let me drag you.
Exactly.
Oh no, no, wait for me in front of
Mm-hmm.
you. No, it's supposed to be in alignment. So I
Mm-hmm.
please, okay, can we go to couples therapy? What do I need to change? What do I need to do? Because when we popped up on the screen with each other, I'm like, girl, you look good. No, you look good. Because I went through that of like, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I need to change who I am.
Mm.
And thing and nutrition, a very big portion of the grief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, getting back to that, like maybe I need to change who I am. Maybe I need to change the way I look, I act. But no, that growth edge. Wait, 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 wait. If I have to do all that for someone else, that's a sign. That's a sign that something needs to transition. So yeah, that's
And the truth is if you have to do all of that for someone else, how could you then declare that you're authentic? It's
authentic.
not possible. Your genuine self. How could you make that declaration if you're saying, "What did I do?" That means that becomes self-worth within you because now your self-worth, your self-value has plummeted because, and I ask clients this all the time, how come it has to be you? Why does it need to be something wrong with you
Yeah,
in
that
this process? So as you began to go through this journey of change, what were some things that you latched on to that became like a lifeline of words within yourself?
affirmations were big, and creating those affirmations. I
Mm.
mean, sometimes you can get inspiration off of a book or something online, but really doing that deep soul searching of, not really wanting that dopamine satisfaction, but
Yeah.
true authentic self, and that
Mm-hmm.
that affirmation of telling myself, um, to, you are more than this moment, it will pass. I love myself in and out of every evolution, both beneficial and non-beneficial. I am proud of myself for operating at the fullest that I could at that time and in that space. And I am
Mm-hmm.
proud of myself for finding the tools to figure this shit out. And I'm
Right.
myself for continuing to find the tools to figure this shit out. I have resources, opportunity, and favor, and the
Mm-hmm.
wisdom, discernment, and discipline to not only maintain it, but to make it flourish. And I claim
Listen,
that every day.
to maintain it, but to make it flourish.
Oh, she's growing.
Whew,
She's growing, and I like her.
that is powerful. And I love that you honor her because so many people in the meditation album that I did, Becoming Her, one of the tracks says, I need you to visualize walking to her, holding her hand and connecting with her. we sometimes get so disconnected from our natural true self because we're trying to honor what society said we were supposed to have, and we figured out society bamboozled a lot of us.
Yeah, they did.
Society lied to us, and they lied to us for their own benefits, their own manipulative
Yeah,
properties.
personal gain.
Exactly. And so when I laugh when I hear people say, well, these woke people, I was in a stupor until I woke up to truth, connecting with my creative understanding, connecting to the purpose within me, and recognizing that I'm more than these rules that you all have put into place. So as you begin the process, moving into the now empty nester part of this life change, which so many women struggle. What was the biggest struggle in dealing with empty nesting?
I think how loud the silence was, and then in a set saying the same term, but in different octaves and tones. Like I can do what I
Right.
want,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's so much for our age group of like I can literally do what I want, when I want, and how I want, past any societal norm of what they think
Mm-hmm.
I should or shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to go on a date, if I want to go to a pottery class, if I want to, whatever it is that I want to do it. I'm doing it for her. And just like your book said, you guys go buy that book. Um, I was walking when you said walk with her. I meditated and I walked with her in different places. And I sit with her. I'd sit with little me where she loved and where she was most happy. She loved playing in a closet with dolls. She just loved to
Mm-hmm.
be in that space. Or teenage me, she loved sitting upside down in the bed with the phone, my neon phone, and twirling the phone, cord
Court.
on
Mm-hmm.
or making a mixtape, pressing record and play at the same time and making a Friday night mixtape. I
Mm.
sat with her, the mom and mother me. When I sat with her, though, that's the one that took the longest.
Yeah.
And you just spoke about that. That's where she got lost.
Yep.
She lost the sense of self.
Mm-hmm. And so many mothers wrestle with that identity. I had a client yesterday, bless her heart, that I said to her, I said, you need to find you again. I know you've listened to Becoming Her, but are you literally drawing that energy in because you're so interwoven with your children and their adult lives and all that kind of stuff. And you may not know every facet, but you're so interwoven in it that you can't see you. And you can't see that you've invited anxiety, and subsequently, your children are now inviting your anxiety into their lives because they want to make you happy. Y'all are transferring this energy. And so, empty nesting to me should be as exciting as becoming a grandparent. And the reason why I say that is because I am single. I often say, and my kids hate to hear me say it, but I do. I say, I'm a family of one with extensions to other families because it's me. My kids are adults. They are grown. They have children. Am I actively participating in their life? Yes. But I'm also a family of one that I get the opportunity, get this, that I didn't have as a young mother who had lost her identity. So I went back and got her. Like, come on. And now that I got this weight loss going on, it's over. She
Yeah,
all the way out. She
yeah.
all the way out.
We do not look like the generation did that aged at.
Listen, we don't look like we are. I'm almost 60. I'm a couple years younger than you, but I'm almost 60 years old.
We don't look like our mothers did when they were our age.
Nope, because we went back and got our younger selves and gave her permission to rest.
That's so beautiful and so true. Because if you look at us now, we're probably at the age. where that shift and that growth edge happened, and it's almost like we get a redo.
Like the
We'll
big
redo
red button, just hit the button and
the button
do
and
it again.
just do it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And detaching that, sometimes I'll get a slip in the midst of that, of having to detach the emotion from the logic, the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what what is. And so I'm trying to, that's where I'm at right now, is that constant gear shift, that maneuver of, oh, I'm feeling it, name it, and then detach it and be like, okay, how I feel is a choice. How I'm responding is a choice. How
Mm-hmm.
I let people make me feel, that's a
Mm-hmm.
choice. I can only
Mm-hmm.
feel how you let me. How I allow
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
choice to.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is that we get to choose. So I would like for you to speak to the heart of women who are facing pivoting, whether it's force or choice. What would you say to them as they prepare to move into this part of life that requires a pivot?
Acceptance and allowance in that
Mm-hmm.
space is going to be hard, but it's meant to be. It's a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
You are learning how people, places, and things make you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
don't fear the feeling, feel the feel,
That's
and tell
it.
yourself, I can do hard things. You will look back and realize how hard things were and how well you did.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever she is or he, you have male viewers, they got you here.
Yes,
Thank them, grieve them, and move forward. That pivot
absolutely.
is you recognizing what no longer serves you. And it's going to show you. It's going to show you in so many different ways and forms. And when you pay attention, when you meditate and you just sit still with that, it's happening for me and to me at the same time. The reason why
Hmm.
this isn't working is because it wasn't meant.
And that's the real reality. When you recognize that the pivot doesn't mean that you're under a curse or that you're being punished, but it's part of a journey that will help you continue aligning yourself with your purpose. Don't regret the pivot. We're not saying don't experience the pain that was associated because the pain is real. That's
Yep.
where you are. That's what's going on. What we are saying is when you look at the pivot as a process of my alignment with my purpose, you don't have energy to be bitter. Because ain't nothing in bitter but anxiety, depression, and frustration and your irritability. We're not going to be bitter old ladies.
No,
Just not. Not going to be it.
don't hold on to that. That's not where
Mm-hmm.
your comfort lies. I know that's probably feels safe because it was your normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you want to go back to that and hold on to that, but no, there's better things ahead of you. Let's figure out even though it's unknown and it's scary,
Mm-hmm.
figure out what that next step is. Just that next better thought. Nothing radical.
Mm-hmm.
That next best thought, that next best practice. Do I need to move
Mm-hmm.
my body? Do I need something to eat? Do I need to hydrate? Whatever it is, give yourself what it needs. Don't go back
Mm-hmm.
to what it was because it's familiar.
Exactly. And one thing that I would say is there's a part of the Becoming Me, Becoming Her album that says, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what do you need from me in this moment? As you're healing and you're reconnecting to yourself and identifying who you are, asking that question, what do you need from me in this moment? I did that on the way to the elementary school this morning because I always listen to the meditation album. And I got to that part and I said, hey, what do you need in this moment? And I heard, just chill. Cool, cool. I'm cool with it to just chill, just be you. And when you can get to that space and honor yourself in that moment, that is the best gift that you can give to yourself. I think. What do you think?
In every capacity. that
Mm-hmm.
your self-esteem, chill today, mine said, I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. Okay, why am
Mm-hmm.
I angry? What
Mm-hmm.
is what's associated with this anger?
Mm-hmm.
Just give power to. Oh shoot. Okay, we're releasing it. Okay, we were angry. We're releasing that. I mean, can't believe I gave that much attention and power, but okay, I'm forgiving myself for that. What's
Mm-hmm.
next? Got it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I always say, anger is a secondary emotion. Your first three emotions that will begin or that feeds anger are abandonment, disappointment, and rejection. When you find yourself angry, ask yourself, am I feeling disappointed? Did I get rejected or abandoned? That's where my burst of anger has come from, because when you know what it is, you can call it, you can uproot it, and you can turn it around. Don't sit in anger too long, because you sitting in anger gives somebody else control over your emotions. And I'm a control freak. I like to control my emotions. I like to be in control of my emotions. So, you know, this was such a beautiful interview with so many power packed moments. Let me ask you this question. How do you resonate with the thought of being authentically peculiar?
Being authentically for me, allowing myself to evolve as many times as I need to, take benefit from the good and the bad. Being authentically every day and loving ever serve.
I love that. Allowing yourself to fall, allowing yourself to get up, and accepting all of you every day. I love that. Love that. So tell the audience how they can be in contact with you, how they can connect with you. You're in Texas, you're looking for a therapist. I highly recommend Dr. Chazia to anyone. So tell everyone how to get in contact with you.
So you have, and they'll be, I can send that to her, but Miles of Hope, that email in itself, Miles of Hope, and Hope is h.p.e7@gmail.com. And on social media, you have me on LinkedIn at Chazia. Supervise those interns because we need more providers out there that I can supervise paid internships. But and the podcast is coming. Podcast is coming. It's literally kind of a subset out. Let's meditate, let's center ourselves, and let's figure out what at that time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I know that you got to go back to working with the veterans and making sure that they get their health care online and that their mental wellness is in check and all of those things that you do on a daily basis. Thank you so much, beautiful, for taking this time out to spend with us today as we continue to expand this year in Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Check out each episode. Go ahead, leave us a like, a comment, a share, and subscribe to everything that Dr. Chazia has going on. Subscribe to the podcast page so that you don't miss an episode. You don't want to miss an episode. So take good care. Remember, in all things that you do, always be authentically peculiar. Take good care. Thank you for sharing time and space with us today on Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the podcast with everyone that you know. In addition, go out and support each of the guests and their own social platforms. Buy their products, leave them a comment. We'll see you on the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.